Speedway Produ I'll say the lines right. Yeah, Speedway Report is a production of ZTV. Just got started here on Facebook Live. Welcome to Speedway Report. Where are we? August the 3rd, 2020. We're looking at Lewis Hamilton riding his tricycle to a seventh win in the British Grand Prix. Indiana Sprint Week crowns their champion for 2020. And, well, Kyle Larson just keeps on trucking. We've got all this and more coming up. Welcome to Speedway Report. As I said, Monday, August the 3rd. If you're watching us live, 2020. We are on the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. I'm Patrick Reynolds, and thank you for joining the fastest half hour in racing. I've been talking to you guys about new equipment, so I've got a couple of new screens here. We used to do it all with one. Now I'm actually monitoring several monitors here in the studio. I used to use tabs and pretty much just have everything on one monitor, but everything would overlap itself. I could never see you guys, so you may see me looking over here and over there a little bit. If you want to give me a hey sign, hey, how you doing? You can hear me okay. You can see me okay. Love that to happen. Just because, well, I've been testing. I've been running new equipment, run into some bugs lately. New laptops, new cameras, new mics, new wiring. Well, we got all kinds of new stuff going on here. But as far as I can tell, with the tests that we ran over this past weekend, everything's up and running. Well, gosh, we look to be live. So actually, should I jump over here and look at the monitor, see what you guys are up to? Yeah, I was actually looking at comments. That's cool. Look to be live, look to be rolling. Just needed to see if there were any restrictions I need to take off because I love you guys. Feel free to jump in. So we're on live on Speedway Report as well as Racers Reunion, I believe, anyway. Let's head over to the Speedway Report Victory Lane Lap. Tell you who won what. I like getting further and further into the summer, and we actually have some results to talk about. What is a bummer is that it's already August, and it seems like summer hasn't even begun yet, other than the heat. But there's been so few events and races to actually take place or actually talk about. So that's been a tough one. But let's talk about this. We've got some good stuff coming up here. NASCAR Cup raced in Loudon, New Hampshire yesterday afternoon. 301 laps around the Magic Mile, and Brad Keselowski for Penske is your winner. Yeah. Foreshadowing of what we may talk about with Brad and Penske tonight. NASCAR's Whelen Modified Tour was at White Mountain Motorsports Park in North Woodstock, New Hampshire. Former guest on this show, Doug Coby, won the feature race. The first event of him as a car owner. Phil Moran is the crew chief. Doug Coby, owner/driver, parks it in Victory Lane in New Hampshire for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. In Formula One, Lewis Hamilton won in Silverstone. What a finish to this. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. In AMSA, Road America, a downpour up in Wisconsin didn't slow Elio Castroneves or Ricky Taylor at all as they took their Acura for Team Penske into Victory Lane. Jumping over on the dirt, the World of Outlaw late models. Well, they got a little bit of their show in Kokomo, Indiana, just north of Indianapolis. Last Friday night's Twin 25 Showdown doubleheaders were split by Brandon Shepard and Jimmy Owens. Then they were going to have a bigger finale. Saturday night rained out, pushed to Sunday, rained out as we look here on Monday to be determined for that late model race up in Kokomo, Indiana. World of Outlaw sprints, they also faced wet weather in Orville, Ohio, and Plymouth, Indiana, as both of those events were rained out this weekend, so they didn't get a lap in. ARCA raced a doubleheader in Toledo, Ohio, Friday and Sunday. Sam Ayer got out the broom and took both 200-lap races in Ohio. USAC Sprints ran 6 features in the last week and a half for Indiana Sprint Week. Chase Stocking is your 2020 Indiana Sprint Week champion. Small block modifieds. at the Grandview, Pennsylvania on the dirt. Big event for them with the Forrest Rogers Memorial. $10,000 to the winner. Nice for a, well, middle of the summer run feature race. Brett Cressley cashed the big check up on the hill at Grandview. Can you follow sprint car racing and dirt racing and not hear about Kyle Larson? Amazing job this guy is doing since he's no longer racing NASCAR. He was a superstar in the sprint car in the open wheel ranks, got going onto the fender of the NASCAR world, climbed his way through up to the Cup Series, was winning races with Ganassi Racing. We've covered this story multiple times. Found his way back on the dirt world with sprint cars. Winged, non-winged, running a true outlaw style schedule. In other words, he doesn't follow the tour for the World of Outlaws, but he races where he wants, when he wants, on the tour that he wants, running a true outlaw schedule. We've got some numbers. Wow. 41 starts in 2020 in sprint cars have resulted in a better than 50% winning rate. He has won 21 features out of the 41 features that he has started. Absolutely amazing job the guy is doing so far. Average it out, we are looking at just over a third place finish. 3.5 and a little bit more he's averaging. Who the heck averages a third place finish out of 41 races? Nobody does this. This is Kyle Larson. This is what we have going on here this year is one of those moments in auto racing. One of those events in sports where you might be rolling your eyes at the time saying, oh, this guy again, just winning all the time. I'm sick of him winning, when you should appreciate the magic we're seeing in front of us. There have been times in the past when some of the biggest names in auto racing has gone through this, where they won a lot, and then people get sick of them winning when they are winning right in front of them. Believe me, folks, this will not last forever. Appreciate what you are seeing. There's generations of folks following motorsports now that never got to see Dale Earnhardt race, never got to see Richard Petty race. These two are the giants of NASCAR. They've gone through their winning streaks, where at the time, race fans were kind of sick of these guys winning. But it was magic. And decades later, generations later, everybody looks in awe that you actually saw them race and actually saw them do this. Rusty Wallace has been through this. Jimmy Johnson has been through this. Steve Kinzer, Sammy Swindell, Scott Bloomquist, Brett Hearn, Billy Pouch. Generations later, you look back and you're just amazed that people actually got to see this and witness it happen. It was amazing. What you're seeing now in Kyle Larson, take it in. Don't roll your eyes. Don't shake your head. What you're seeing is something very, very special, and it is super to have Kyle Larson doing it. I enjoy watching him on dirt in the sprint cars. I want him to be happy and go race where he wants to race, but if he just stayed in sprint cars for the rest of his career, I wouldn't be offended at that. He's doing a good job in short track racing. Could use people of that talent driving around in the dirt, muscling a 410 car with a big wing on it. Speaking of muscling, who was up early yesterday morning watching the British Grand Prix at Silverstone? Let me back you up even further to 48 hours ago. Who was watching Grand Prix qualifying Saturday morning from Silverstone? I was. Had the bacon, the eggs, the coffee. We're all going rolling well. Something odd happened there. Lewis Hamilton spun out and caused a red flag, basically, a stoppage of qualifying because of all the gravel that he kicked up on the track. When's the last time you saw Lewis Hamilton spin out? I couldn't recall it. Yet here he was spinning out and put a stop to the qualifying session. Very, very odd, but I guess it happens to the best of them. And what I noticed is when he looped it around, he flat spotted all four tires, but there was a glaring blister on the left front of the car. I pretty much assumed that it was from the lockup of the spin. Lo and behold, here we go with this word. Word of the day, I think, was foreshadowing, because that certainly foreshadowed the finish of the Grand Prix on Sunday. In the late stages, his Mercedes teammate Valtteri Bottas had a flat left front tire. Had to pit for a replacement so he could finish the race. On the final lap, Lewis Hamilton gets a flat left front tire. In the closing laps, Hamilton really wasn't worried about his car. He said he thought Bottas was pushing his car too hard in an attempt to keep up with Hamilton. And Valtteri was within a couple seconds of the other Mercedes. And Lewis's tread just came apart on him on the final lap. So he wheeled the last pretty much half a lap, maybe more so, with a left front tire that had actually separated sidewall to tread. Steering, braking, he still came across and won the race. Second place, Max Verstappen, made up 25 seconds on Hamilton in the final lap. Still finished second to Lewis as they crossed the checkered flag. Some debate is, Monday morning quarterback is that, well, you could have brought Lewis in, changed tires on the car, and sent him back out, and he still would have held the lead over Verstappen. Maybe they could have done that when Bottas had his flat, but there were just no indications, and Hamilton thought it was safe. Anyway, we could talk about Lewis Hamilton's quality of driving and how maybe he's overrated and maybe he is the best ever or somewhere in there. How we're going to compare him to Schumacher when he's in the best equipment all the time. However, that left no doubt in my mind that Lewis Hamilton is one of, if not the best out there, when you can still win the British Grand Prix, essentially 3 wheels, and he did a fantastic job. If you haven't seen it, go pull it up and watch the end of the 2020 British Grand Prix. Now, open cockpit, open wheel news, Formula One. Let's move to IndyCar. This coming weekend was supposed to be the race at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Because of COVID-19 and the ever-changing effect on what it's having on society and the state of Ohio, the event is being postponed to possibly sometime in September or October. That leaves them on the sidelines in Ohio, and we turn our attention to the state just to the west of Ohio, Indiana, in the next running of the Indianapolis 500, where the qualifying weekend is 2 weekends out, and the Indy 500 slated for August 23rd. Am I the only one that does not have a lot of confidence that the Indy 500 will actually take place? I don't. I have very low confidence. Now, I'm not rooting for that fact. Don't misunderstanding. I'm very much rooting that we run the race. I'm rooting for the fact that I hope I get a chance to go, that they open enough, far enough for me to attend. That may not happen. Something that's happened in 2020 with COVID-19 and every other story we've followed this season off the track and away from the on-track problems is that my shock level is now pretty low. What you could have told me 6 months ago, I would probably put up an argument saying, no, you're crazy. That can't happen. It won't happen. This can't happen. Nowadays, pretty much, I'm very gullible. If you tell me anything, I'm probably going to believe it from what we've seen in 2020. And here we look with the Indy 500 less than 3 weeks away at 25% capacity. You're still looking at roughly 60,000 people at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I don't have high confidence that this is going to play out how it is. I am hoping it does. I am rooting it does. But since we've been in this downward spiral since March, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. But I don't have a lot of faith that this will actually go to plan. I'm hoping the captain proves me wrong. The captain, Roger Penske. You like how I'm segueing from segment to segment here? Yeah. Let's talk about Brad Keselowski. The captain won the sports car race at Road America on Sunday. Brad Keselowski has been in contract negotiations with Roger Penske for the better part of this year, as this is pretty much a contract year for Brad K. Yesterday in Loudon, New Hampshire, he won his 3rd Cup Series event of the season. That's a good thing because there were a lot of rumors extending him to number 48, Jimmy Johnson's ride, as Johnson retires from full-time driving at the end of this year. So that puts those rumors to rest for the moment. Yes, for the moment. What do we have really going on here? Brad Keselowski has signed an extension with Roger Penske to drive the Deuce for another year, but only for one more year. It's not a 3-year deal, 2-year deal, 4-year deal, whatever. Most of them are 3-year deals. Options for others, it's only a 1-year deal. What does that mean? Can you read into this further? I'm going to dig deep and maybe go out on a big limb, but why not? I'll say it. Jimmy Johnson is retiring from full-time NASCAR Cup competition. That does not say he will retire from all racing or part-time NASCAR Cup competition. What do I think? I'll throw a crazy one out there. As we've seen, Jimmy Johnson's retirement year, been going around without a lot of fans to wish him well, to see him farewell. Blake Shelton even put out a tweet yesterday saying, how about we make 2021 Jimmy's final year and he can say goodbye in front of fans properly. And maybe he'll be running a little bit better. Could get it, he's been running good at times, but hasn't really put that magic together that he had with Chad Knaus to be competitive each week and contend for a championship. Here's what I think is going to happen. Jimmy will retire from full-time competition, but in 2021, he will be available with part-time competition and limited backing, where the amount of dollars and funding that they have can fulfill a full season on Johnson's schedule, which will be not an entire season with Hendrick Motorsports, as he will run a part-time schedule in the IndyCar Series with his test the other week at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He'll run part-time in both, full-time in neither. That will keep the 48 seat warm for one more season. Johnson gets to say goodbye in front of fans. 2022, Jimmy Johnson is in IndyCar racing, and at that point, Brad Keselowski jumps over to Hendrick Motorsports to be the driver of the 48. If that crazy story comes true, remember you heard it here first. I have no basis for this other than me sitting on the couch observing and thinking about what's happening and what I see in the world of racing. As I said, very little shocks me anymore. So why don't you just drop some bombs here? I might as well do it, right? I don't think any of it will make any waves with what we've seen with cancellations and post-moment and the craziness of 2020 and COVID-19. Craziness and COVID-19. Gosh, poor John Force Racing will not compete at all in the NHRA 2020. His 4-car team sidelined out of choice, not out of necessity, but out of choice. He will sit back. And he gave a little bit of a peek behind the curtain as to how his operation works. With limited fan engagement, TV, broadcast, media, all that, John Force said vaguely that he couldn't make the numbers work. In other words, with his sponsors, what they put in, what his obligations and goals were on TV, in the media, on social media, things of that nature, leads me to the impression that John Force's team is actually funded on the backside by the amount of exposure that he gives them during each race weekend and during the process of the race week even. It's an ongoing thing. That's what I'm guessing, that the funding comes in from his sponsors depending on the media exposure. Well, you've got the one golden goose in all of NHRA and John Force. However, with COVID-19 slapping so many restrictions on so many aspects of all of racing, as John said, he just couldn't make the numbers work. I think he gets paid on the backside with what he produces on the racetrack on the weekend for media exposure by the sponsors. Hopefully, he'll be back in 2021 because there is a massive hole missing in NHRA with John Force Racing not being at the track week in and week out. Let's look at our Racer of the Week and pay tribute to Dave Despain and MotorWeek Illustrated, the Speedway Report Racer of the Week. I thought about this for a while. I had a tough one. Had a lot of candidates. I thought about Sam Mayer, who won 2 ARCA races in the same weekend. It's tough enough to win one ARCA race. He won 2. Kyle Larson, he's been the Racer of the Week already. However, the numbers and racing stats that he is putting up are phenomenal and should be remembered for generations to come. Elio Castroneves put that great pass in the downpouring rain to win the IMSA event yesterday at Road America. I took all that, stirred it up, trying to decide who the racer of the week was, and I'm going to give it to the guy who won with only 3 wheels on the car. Well, 4 wheels were on the car, but only 3 tires had air in them and were helping him get around the track. Lewis Hamilton will be the Speedway Report Racer of the Week, and there's nothing like a Formula One champion chasing Michael Schumacher's numbers. I'm sure staying up late at Great Britain at his London home, watching Speedway Report online in the internet, and I probably made his weekend with that announcement. Lewis, buddy, thanks for watching, man, and we'll get that plaque out to you as soon as possible. In between our broadcasts, keep up on the world of racing with SpeedwayReport.com. We've got all of these shows archived there and some great columns lately from Rhonda Beck, who has been a strong contributor. Hook up with us on social media, on Facebook, right here, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds, or the Racers Reunion Facebook page. On Twitter, I'm at Speedway Report and at Speedway Pat. And you can also check our archives out at racersreunion.com in the forum. Big thanks for those that joined the Facebook live feed tonight. I got a lot of moving parts here, try to keep everything going. New pieces, new studio, new stuff. Thanks for being here because it looks like it's working okay. Finally, after all the testing and experimentation we've done over the last several weeks. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds. I want to thank all of the military past and present for the freedoms we enjoy as Americans in our daily life, including the simple things like bench racing right here on a Monday night. Freedom is not free, and a veteran paid that bill for us. To all of the men and women who are defending freedom and watching Speedway Report, you take care of yourselves and come home soon. A special salute to the teachers, school staff, firefighters, police officers, and paramedics in their own communities. They are quiet and modest heroes every single day. God bless and thank you. You've been watching Speedway Report from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. Please like our Facebook page, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds, and you follow me on Twitter at Speedway Pat. Now, I was watching Bill Pratt earlier on Facebook. He was on the Drag Racing List Facebook page doing some sound tests. He might have been doing the same thing we were, trying to adapt to Facebook's new broadcast equipment and software. I got a new laptop and some new equipment. Hopefully his is going okay. Drag Racing List at the top of the hour with Bill Pratt and John Bachman. I'll be back live here on Facebook Monday, August the 10th. We'll have the latest from NHRA at Indy with no John Force Racing. There will be a NASCAR Cup doubleheader in Michigan, the latest across the world of motorsports and short tracks. Thank you all for watching. You take care of yourselves and take care of each other. I'll see you all next week.